Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 195 of Classic Elite. My name is Scott. I've got Dustin with me. What is going on, man?
I already finished my first drink.
Oh, man. That means we got hustle, no potty breaks.
That's all right. I have empty bottles over here in the recycling. We'll be good.
Speaking... Okay, you just inadvertently ran into the best segue possible.
All right.
I am you this week.
Okay. Hey!
I have a drink to demo live on the stream, which Dustin is known for doing. If you're a listener to, if you're a longtime listener of this show, Dustin loves drinks, and when they're new and quirky or nostalgic, he brings them up, and we enjoy them together. And I live vicariously through him. Today, I got my hands on some Crystal motherfucking Pepsi. And what was it, maybe like 2 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
I went on a mini little, I wouldn't say a rant, but an extended bit of...
Diatribe?
What now?
Diatribe?
Diatribe. There you go. That's a perfect word for it. About how I wanted to try Crystal Pepsi's re-release to see what it was like compared to my memory of Crystal Pepsi, because it was so vivid, Crystal Pepsi. I remember being at my friend Bray's house. I remember Van Halen's song, Right Now. I remember the commercials. Dustin, I have not tried this yet.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm cracking it open. And here it is. We're going to see if I remember this taste or not, okay?
All right.
Here we go. Holy shit. The weird thing is the smell is there. It smells like I remember.
Oh, man.
So Crystal Pepsi, it tastes how I remember it, apparently. Hell yeah. So that's going to be my drink of choice for the episode.
All right.
And I won't get into it just now, but I also have been playing like a fuck ton of Castlevania. So that's why I am you. I am trying drinks on the show, and I've been obsessed with Castlevania lately. So
all right.
So yeah, I get friend points back from you for any wrong that I've done to this point. So.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, man, Crystal Pepsi, apparently I love it. I way overpaid for it because I live in a small town and can only buy it online. But I'm happy. This is... I've had a shitty week at work, and this right now, podcasting Crystal Pepsi being spied on is right there. I'm happy about it. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, how has the week been for you?
Pretty good. I have, work's been all right. Like, at one point, even though it's the beginning of the year, I have 3 schools, and I had 0 tickets in any of my schools.
So are you like a master thumb twiddler now?
Yeah. Like, it felt good. I mean, it only lasted for like 5 minutes, and then like a billion other tickets landed in there.
That old adage, man, when it rains, it pours.
Yeah. But still, I was like, yeah, all right, I did it.
And also, I got to give you a thanks, man. So I'm glad that your week hasn't been too bad at work. I just realized this. I got sidetracked. This is the mug from Giant Bomb right. I got. And last week when we were done recording, Dustin gave me a $15 off coupon he never used at giantbomb.com when he was a premium member. So he gave it to me, and I got a $15 coffee mug, which I'm blaming CBS, not Giant Bomb, but a coffee mug for $15 is up there in price, right? It was $12.40 to ship it to me. So we're looking at like $30 for a coffee mug. You know what? It's like a matte black with like a really nice traditional sheen inside red.
Mm-hmm.
I'd pay $30 for this.
Man,
I fucking love it. So,
all right.
It's classy. It's like, it's simple. There's no CBI bullshit on here, or CBSI. Yeah.
CSI Miami.
See, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, did I just say a show? They're who owns Giant Bomb. But anyway, the mug is amazing. Thank you for hooking me up with that code, man.
Absolutely, dude.
And shipping was super, super fast and it showed up on time. I was going to put the Crystal Pepsi in a Giant Bomb mug, but I didn't want any chance for contaminants. I wanted straight from the bottle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, for anyone listening, if you are a premium member, you cannot stack your $15 coupons that they give you.
Yeah. So, you can't, like... You have, like, $45 in store credit.
Mm-hmm.
The key is that you need to spend money to use their money.
Yeah. So I was like, well, this will never happen.
And you know that I'm a sucker for impulse purchases, so...
Yeah.
But I'm super happy in this and the coffee mug that I have at work, which is, if anybody is familiar with the band 65 Days of Static that did the soundtrack for No Man's Sky, that genre of music is called post-rock. And one of my favorite bands from that genre is called Explosions in the Sky. And my brother, it's also one of his favorite bands. My brother got me a coffee mug based around that band. That's my favorite coffee mug in the world. This is now my second favorite coffee mug in the world.
Hey, all right.
So it's my favorite in the house, I guess. So when it rains, it pours. Going back to you, the work's work. So outside of that, how's the week been? How's the family? Everything good?
Yeah, so far so good. Been hanging out.
I think you mentioned to me off air that you went to go see Jim Gaffigan.
I did.
How was that? I forgot to ask.
It was good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was really good. It was weird seeing him, like he would make a mistake every once in a while. Nothing huge, right? But he would just like flub a line and go back and re-say it. And I was like, oh, it's so weird. I've never seen him make a mistake before.
That's probably him trying out new material.
That's cool.
Which is... I don't know. It's like being a nerd about a video game and getting like alpha or beta access that's limited.
Right,
you know, you got a chance to see him trying some new stuff, most likely. Or he's just fucked up an old joke.
Yeah. The guy before him said that they were doing like 37 shows in 39 weeks.
Holy. Well, I guess.
And this was their 34th.
So they're either like burnt out, like brain is mush, or it's like honed in.
Yeah.
Like mastery. I'm sure that. I mean, if you enjoyed the show overall, I'm sure it was more on the good side versus like the beta side. So
it was really good.
Live stand-up comedy it's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to be critical of stand-up comedy when you're at home by yourself or whatever, maybe with a friend or two. But when you're live and you hear other people laughing, things that wouldn't make you laugh if you were watching it on Netflix, make you laugh in person because it's so infectious to be a part of the audience. And like you're as a viewer of stand-up comedy, you're a big part of what's happening for the artists as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very neat give and take. I love it. I think it's really cool. Did he do the hot pocket joke? I'm guessing not because there wasn't any. I asked you to punch him in the face if he did it. So since you weren't on like trending on Facebook, I'm guessing you didn't.
I forgot about that, but that was his encore.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
He came out and talked about hot pockets.
I'd swear I would never boo anybody in my life. I might boo that fucking joke, dude. And it would be irrational to him. It was my friends that ran that stupid bit into the ground. They thought that hot pocket joke he had like 10 years ago was the funniest thing in the world. So, what'd Kim think? Did she have a good time?
Yeah, she loved it.
Whose idea was it? Was it you or hers to go on that as like a date?
she saw um she saw something on Facebook, and she messaged, she put a comment on it and said, "Dustin, if you really love me, you'll get us tickets to this." And then later she's like, "Hey, did you see my joke post?" And I was like, "The tickets are in the mail." She's like, "What?" I was like, "That's right."
You'd be like, you should have said, "No, I must have missed it, but I'm really excited to go see the Jim Gaffigan show."
That would have been awesome. Yeah.
It's always easier to make jokes after the fact, right?
Yeah.
So, well, good, man. I'm glad that was a good show. I'm glad work has been manageable. Here in Ohio, everybody is back to work, or back to school. But that happened, like, what, a week or two ago for you? You mentioned last episode, I think, that tickets were starting to roll in.
Yeah, we start like August 3rd or something ridiculous.
We did this weird thing here in my town. You might relate, being from a smaller town in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have county fairs around Labor
Ooh.
Day?
Yes.
They do this weird thing in my town where the kids will start school and go to school for like 3 or 4 days and then be off for a week to tailor to the hillbilly kids that are like showing cows and pigs and shit at the fair. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Our listeners
exactly.
that are not from a small town in like the Midwest, like or the South, might not understand this, but they're kids that show off livestock. Like, think how fucking weird that is. If you're like 9 years old and you raise this cattle or this sheep or this pig, right? And then you go sell it to slaughter for a ribbon. And as a kid, you're totally cool with the trade-off. If you get the blue ribbon, it was worth it.
Maybe you get a steak, too.
You might get a steak. Yeah, maybe they would. Maybe the people that are quartering your cow would hook you up with something.
Bessie, you're going to be delicious.
Right? Like, could you imagine doing that with, like, Old Yeller? Like, when it's like your dog or your cat, you're devastated at the thought of it dying in any capacity, right?
Yeah.
But when it's a consumer good in, like, a fair setting, it's totally reasonable. I don't know. It's just a very bizarre thing. I didn't grow up around that, and I always thought it was strange. So
I have an uncle who grows pumpkins and shows them off at the Dixie Classic Fair in North Carolina.
That is weird. What a niche thing to get into.
And he wins ribbons. Like,
right? He wins ribbons.
Yeah, he's a badass in the pumpkin growing business.
Oh, it's so funny to me that you grew up where you did and I grew up where I am now, and we have such similarities.
Yeah,
with how our communities were growing up. But you hear like someone from like a metropolitan area, and we are talking like completely foreign to them. You know?
right.
So, our buddy Andrew is in chat. ActWitch8113. He said, "Where did I get Crystal Pepsi?" I'm embarrassed, man. I bought it on Amazon because I didn't think it would get a release here in Findlay. So I overpaid. My mentality was, if I was at a bar and there was a Crystal Pepsi sampling station, would I pay this much to even try it, let alone get several 20-ounce bottles?
Mm-hmm.
When I told myself yes, I would plump down the money just to find out, I clicked buy. What's weird, it said sold by Pepsi, right, in the Amazon listing, but wasn't available for Prime shipping. And I'm like, oh, okay, no big deal. But it didn't come from Pepsi distribution. So, can you put a false, like, brand name that is sold by? Or do you have to, like, how do you verify that you are who you say you are as a seller on Amazon?
I don't know.
Like eBay, it's like crowdsourcing. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You just rank each other. If you were a dickhead, people will put your feet to the fire for it and give you bad ratings. But it said sold by Pepsi. I'm like, okay, seems fine. And then it totally, like, nothing other than Crystal Pepsi on the invoice. Like, nothing was Pepsi related. So I don't know if it was like the distribution plan. Like I don't understand how that stuff works. So, but Andrew, with Crystal Pepsi, if you are in like a major metropolitan area, there's a good chance it's just at your store. Because I think it's like a summer release. Kind of like the McRib.
But palatable.
Yes. That's got to be the most overrated sandwich in fast food.
Yeah.
Maybe the most overrated sandwich of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I like some pretty shitty food. I don't like the McRib.
What about the fish sandwich?
At McDonald's?
Yeah. Fish sandwich?
I think it's just called the fish sandwich. I actually do like that.
What, didn't it have like a stupid name at one point? A fish sandwich or something like that?
It might have. Not
I remember
that I remember, though.
All of my McDonald's sandwich knowledge comes from Loaded Weapon 1. National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1 with Emilio Estevez and Samuel L. Jackson.
I have not seen that. Holy shit. I need to go back and watch some of those, like the National Lampoons or Leslie Nielsen movies, just because there's things that... I need to watch Lethal Weapon 1 and then watch Loaded Weapon. Because I remember, even as a little kid, I got confused between Mel Gibson and Emilio Estevez on which one was the real actor from the real movie and which one was the joke one.
Lethal Weapon, I just watched that again recently. That movie is great.
Have you seen 4?
Yes.
It's awesome with Chris Rock. Recently.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine, because it was 4th in the series, I didn't even give it a chance. I thought, oh, this is dumb. And my friend in college made me watch Lethal Weapon 4. And I was like, oh, this is gut-bustingly funny. I loved it. I guess that was 10 years ago, too, now, though, that I think about it. So, holy shit. It was an old movie when I watched it 10 years ago. Yikes. Yeah, those are... Lethal Weapons are fun movies. They're just... Danny Glover, the dude from Predator 2 and Angels in the Outfield. Is that who that is?
I'm not sure about the Angels in the Outfield, but definitely Predator 2.
He was... the dude from Predator 2 was definitely in Angels in the Outfield.
Okay.
I say that. You know, every time I say something definitive on the podcast, I second guess myself.
That's fine.
Because I've screwed up enough over the years. Or like I've listened to enough podcasts where like a host is real definitive in an answer. And I'm like, oh, that's so wrong, man. So one of my favorite parts about the Beast Cast is their corrections at the end of the episode. People write in telling all the shit they got wrong.
I need to listen to that again now that Austin's gone.
You didn't like Austin?
He wasn't my favorite.
Well, he's a little. I do like. I genuinely love his laugh. I wish I had a friend that laughed like him. It just makes me feel good. But he is a little up the social justice butt a little bit. You know, like a little... sometimes race issues would get shoehorned into his discussions when they didn't need to be. You know, like it was like from a perspective of somebody that... I don't know, was looking for like a victim status or something at times.
Yeah.
Which is... It is what it is. He's a super smart dude, and I did enjoy him on that show quite a bit. But it's been great. I love the Beastcast. Vinny is just amazing, and Jeff Bakalar from CNET is just hilarious. And it's great. Yeah, so go back if you're not a big fan of Austin. Give the show another shot. It's great.
Okay.
So, yeah. I guess we can get into the news. Announcements. Just as a quick reminder, the Retro League tournament is starting soon. Um,
12 days.
not next week, but August 29th. So in 2 episodes, or in 2 weeks from now, today is the 17th, we should be casting our first ballots, which will be fun.
The votes that really matter.
The vote, yeah. I mean, we pretty much dictate the losers. That's what it comes out to.
Yeah.
And then one other thing I wanted to mention before we get into video game news. Dude, trends on Twitter always make me assume the worst thing happened.
I think that's safe in today's world.
Paul McCartney was trending today. And I'm like, shit, another Beatles gone. Do you want to know why he was trending?
Did he say something racist?
No, but I think that's a fair assumption, right? Like, he's old. Is he dead? No. Then he must have said something racist, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a Beatles fan, but it's an interesting thing that, like, that's immediately where we go, right? he actually signed a new record deal with Capitol Records to do a new solo album, and they're going to handle the worldwide distribution, which I don't care. There's very few Beatles songs I like, but it made me think like, oh shit, he's dead. Oh shit, what did he say that was politically incorrect now? And it was actually good news where he's still making stuff that people are interested in. So,
is he like 80 now? How old is he?
He's old. He looks good. Not like Hillary. Man. Boy, does she look. Have you seen any of the new stuff about... man, our country is just hilariously boned. Obama and Bush made it seem like the president was turning into a dictator.
Mm-hmm.
And now it looks like whether it's Trump or it's Hillary, they're both Manchurian candidates. Like, they clearly can't neither of them can do anything. Trump now looks like he's trying to lose the election on purpose.
Yeah.
And Hillary can't do anything without pillows propping her up or leaning on a stool. She's physically incapable of... There's no way she's going to be alive in 8 years. There's just no way.
Right, yeah. Who was it? Harrison that died like 40 days after getting elected? Like a month after he was elected, he died?
It was somebody. Because Ford was after Kennedy. It was like Truman or some... Shit. Yeah, one of the presidents had like a 3.5 year... they didn't get reelected, I don't think. But they had like a 3.5 term presidency without getting elected. But yeah, like, Hillary's like in a bad way, man. It's too bad. We're either gonna have a lunatic or someone on their deathbed as our president.
Yeah, William Henry Harrison.
Was Harrison
died on his 32nd day in office?
Damn. Oh no. Just script the stream a little bit. So, yeah, weird. If you're not from America and you're listening, sorry. This means nothing to you other than I'm sure you've seen the Trump and Hillary memes. They're rich right now. If you're like from Canada or like Europe or something, it's got to be hilarious watching us.
If you're in Canada, you have to worry about Trudeau ruining your country while looking good. And if you're in Europe, you're probably getting raped right now, so...
Or you're leaving the union and isolating yourself. Yeah. We're all kind of screwed. As long as we're living in this golden age right now, right? I mean, when it's tough to even realize it. Like when I look back when we were in college, I thought it was kind of heading in the wrong direction then, but it was great then. So, yeah. All right, man. We've been talking for like a half an hour almost and haven't even said shit about video games. So let's get to that.
I almost called a movie a game.
What do you mean?
I said Lethal Weapon. That game, that movie.
Yeah, well, you're trying. Like your mind is in the right place. We're supposed to be talking about games, right? So Anyways, we mentioned last week, and it was pretty passive. No Man's Sky launched, right?
Hmm.
A lot of people are kind of upset about it. I don't really want to talk about it a lot, but have you heard much of the backlash of the game? Have you caught much wind of that?
Mm-mm. I leafed through that Reddit post that you put up.
This Reddit post, okay, I came to a conclusion, or I realized a realization. Somebody put way too much time into analyzing No Man's Sky's promises versus their delivery, right?
Hmm.
This Reddit post that I'm going to put in our show notes outlines all this stuff that they promised or strongly implied about No Man's Sky that's not in the game. I heard on, I forget which podcast I was listening to, but someone said to them that they described it as like 1,000,000 miles like wide, but only an inch deep. So
Okay.
it's very vast, but there's not a lot of substance to it, kind of a thing.
That's a really good description.
That's what I thought. So I will link this article in the show notes, but I getting back to what I realized is just because somebody put a shitload of time into something medial, like this is a very well organized, a very well formatted, live updated thread. And it is a novel to read through this stuff. It's textbook, right? This is the indication of somebody that's probably going to be really good at writing, doing technical writing, maybe doing presentations. And this is like a 17-year-old kid. This shows an incredible level of detail and intuition and vigor, I guess. So it's not always a waste of time to put a bunch of effort into bitching about something on the internet, is what I guess I'm getting at.
Yeah. All right.
I always assume that it is like, oh, you could have been studying for something, or you could have put this time into something productive. Well, maybe this is like sharpening their knife.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they put together this project, and then the internet comes on to him, and he or she is editing and reformatting, and it's actually a wonderful exercise for this person. And I hope that they write game manuals or facts, or they're able to put together presentations for shareholder meetings. I'm no longer looking at people that put this much effort into something that I view as meaningless as a waste of time anymore.
Yeah. That's a good point.
You know, it just was like, I'm in my mid-30s now. I couldn't have put together that good of a presentation in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, all the issues have sources cited, direct links to interviews. It's not speculation. It's not, well, Sean Murray said this, and it was only implied. Like, there's, like, direct sources. I can totally see why people are pissed.
Yeah.
But I think you and I had a pretty good... There's been no surprises, right? This is what we expected from No Man's Sky, don't you think?
Yep.
It seems
I was
too open for us.
pretty shallow into the thread. Is somebody points out that none of the galaxies move, or solar systems. None of the solar systems move.
Oh.
And that kind of bummed me out.
That felt very implied, right?
Yeah.
There was a really... It was... Have you seen any of those like memes where they'll start off with the real song and then they'll play kind of a clunky version on like a harpsichordian kind of sounding thing?
Mm-hmm.
They did that where they used the Jurassic Park theme song and they showed the start of No Man's Sky's trailer and then cut to like this like kids accordion sounding thing and this like glitchy ass world of what it really is. It was a very funny, very on point meme, and There's a true art to memes that I do not have the capacity to do. So good. There's some shit that's so funny from people. So, excuse me. We'll get into No Man's Sky later. Our good buddy Zarek has a mini review for us late in the show. So, stick around for that. It's good. Zarek is super detailed. He's a very articulate critic of games, which is awesome. I think you and I sometimes are like, yeah, it's good. You know,
I didn't like it.
Yeah, so
that's about as detailed as I get.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, that's what we expected. Well, what the hell does that mean? That's such a vapid thing to say. So, and then, so yeah, chat threw me off. I'm not sure what Andrew means there. He says, like, never gonna hit those notes. What's that mean? The delay? I don't know. Sorry, Andrew. Anyways, Dustin, a trailer came out today that made me think of you. Did you get a chance to watch Metal Gear Survive?
Yep.
I think that your tone right there says enough.
I was like, wow, that is exactly what no one wanted from this game.
Co-op zombie survival. With
Finally.
new Metal Gear style. Like, it's just tangentially related. It's like this happened in the same world as Big Boss existing.
Yeah. It starts out, like the trailer starts out where Big Shell, the first one, is being destroyed. Or whatever the base was in Peace Walker that gets destroyed in Ground Zeroes. And so you see Big Boss and Miller like getting on the helicopter and flying away, and then you're watching some guy still on the base watching them fly away, and then he's sucked up by a UFO, and then he's fighting aliens.
Like, if it's almost like the monster from Stranger Things got the top half of its head blown off to reveal a pink shard that is now coming after everybody, is what the monsters look like.
Yeah.
And despite it looking like hundreds of these things surrounding you, and like the prison part of Walking Dead, they still claim there's stealth elements. They showed nothing that would appear to be a stealth element in that trailer, so cause for concern. Johnny Millennium, the happy console gamer, he did a reaction video, and he always splashes his logo. He had like an MS Paint like red scratch out of happy.
That's awesome.
I thought it was really hilarious. Andrews was goofing off of what we were talking about with songs that go off elsewhere. So, thanks, bud. Appreciate that. So stuff goes over my head sometimes, and with Twitch delay, it's hard to know exactly what they're commenting on.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. I just wanted to get your reaction to Metal Gear Survive. And
oh man, that's such a bummer.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because people wanted more from that game.
Okay, that's fair. People might have wanted more, but did you actually legitimately expect more? This is more than I was expecting. I thought it was straight pachinko from here. I thought Konami was straight done completely with non-gambling games. So
maybe this is just going to turn into like the trailer. The next trailer is going to come out and it's going to zoom out and it's just on top of a pachinko machine.
If they were that self-aware, I might buy the game just because that's so on point. That would be pretty funny. if And then you actually, oh man, and then what if you're in Japan, like you're in Tokyo, right? And you go to a pachinko parlor, you sit down in front of the Metal Gear one, and there's a snow globe on the machine with those zombies in it. Oh man, Lil B Biss 424. Which one of us looks autistic?
Both of us look autistic.
Well, that's fair. I mean, I kind of act autistic, I guess. We've got some great Twitch contributions here. One of us looks autistic, according to Lil B. So we appreciate the view regardless. Hopefully you'll stick around and enjoy people with autism, I guess. Which that's a very... the funny looking one. It's got to be me. You're like the most normal looking dude I know. So, autism is just a very bizarre disease to try to understand. Mm-hmm. Because there's a whole spectrum involved, and I don't know any better. And I think there's a lot of ignorance on what that means or doesn't, and or naivety. I shouldn't say ignorance. It's unstudied. It feels newish. So yeah, interesting stuff. Well, you don't have to be here, Lil B. So anyways, moving on, THQ, Toy Headquarters, is kind of back in a very Atari way.
All right.
Did you hear about this at all?
Just a little bit I saw on the link.
So, usgamer.net, I mean, this is everywhere, but this is the source that we have for our show notes. THQ, the people that did... Man, I wanted to have a good, like, Super Nintendo game to drop. But they've been making games for a while. They went out of business. They did, I
think they did Red Faction, right?
They might have done Red Faction, Saints Row, kind of their like more popular games, and or more well-known games now. And they famously kind of went out of business. And then there was a big auction for all of their IPs and properties and all that. Well, Nordic Games bought some of their IPs. Some of them included Darksiders, and Nordic Games is developing games based on the IPs of THQ that they were able to acquire. Not Saints Row, but... Oh, man, we got someone banned from the room? Did you do that?
Yeah, I just did that.
Oh, wow. I didn't know we could do that. That's wild. I thought you had to, like, be a sponsor. What's that called?
Rockstar.
No. Partnered. I thought you had to be Twitch partner to be able to do that kind of stuff. But anyways, THQ, for $5 million, Nordic Games acquired the rights to Darksiders, a couple other of IPs from THQ, and the THQ name itself. So Nordic Games is rebranding to THQ Nordic.
All right.
And the speculation from the guys at Giant Bomb were that this feels kind of like a slow transition into them doing what happened with Atari, where Atari now exists, right? But it is not at all the Atari from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
They think that they might be doing kind of the slow play to get that going. And it sounds like maybe another Darksiders is coming out, which is cool.
Hey.
I don't know. If we were to... Okay, let's say that like we were a proper company, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is there like a podcast that you'd want to acquire the rights to and then rebrand us as like a more popular one, you know? Like could we do Retronauts or One Up or one of the ones that you used to really like a lot that's no longer around?
Like if we did One Up, I feel like anyone who was like, hey, One Up's back would immediately be pissed off when they started listening.
That's what I was going to say. So is it ethical to do that? We would totally be putting out a false sense of hope.
Yeah. I would say no.
The closest I think I could get to it is buying it and having it redirect to us.
Yeah.
But even
at least it would be immediate disappointment.
Right?
Yeah.
Instead of having to give us a full chance and being like, so is Jeremy Parrish just sick this week or
Right.
So yeah, THQ maybe gonna be back in an Atari kind of way, which is kind of cool. And Darksiders, more Darksiders, people will be excited about that, right? So I can't be too upset about that. Today, the Angry Video Game Nerd released a new video. It's about Beavis and Butthead, mostly focusing on the Sega Genesis game, but he does talk a little bit about the Super Nintendo game as well. Did you watch much Beavis and Butthead as a kid?
A little bit, yeah.
I wasn't allowed to. I had that kind of parents.
Yeah.
Like,
my wife is the same way.
right? Yeah. So I had that, and so I don't watch a ton of Beavis and Butthead, but it was a treat when I could. I guess is what I'm getting at.
She had to call him Beavis and the other guy.
Like around. Hold on. Like around Solly or growing up?
Growing up.
Oh my! You've got to get her to watch this video because he pronounces Butthead like Butthead at times. Like it's pretty funny. But towards the end of the video, he does a great job of kind of a callback to Beavis and Butthead. It's just the dude impresses me every time he puts out a new video, and I don't know how he does it because Angry Video Game Nerd should be so stale by now. But I love his videos, and he does a great job on this one. If you grew up with Beavis and Butthead, it's good. So watch that. I'll link that in the description as well. And the last thing with the news I wanted to chat about is, did you happen to see any of the information about a mod for Half-Life 2 called GoldenEye Source?
I saw some screenshots.
Looks good.
It looks like GoldenEye.
It looks like GoldenEye. But it plays like Half-Life 2. And what's great about it is it makes it feel like you remember it. You don't remember GoldenEye sucking because of the Nintendo 64 controls, right? You just remember it being fun. But we're all used to PC controls now.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like it should, but looks like it should. It's a really neat mod. I'll link. I found out about GoldenEye Source from an article from The Verge, and I don't know anything about modding. Do you?
No, nothing.
So I think any idiot can get this to work. There is a very clear download link in the article, so I downloaded it. I clicked install when the executable was done downloading, and it launched Steam, and then it said, hey, you need the Source SDK base 2007 to run this mod. So I clicked download, and that was another 2 gigs. So it was 2 gigs to download the EXE of GoldenEye, the mod, and then another 2 gigs to download the source. Okay. And now GoldenEye just shows up in my library. I click it, it launches, I get a list of servers, and that's it.
Dude, that's awesome.
It just works. I don't
know.
I hear like mods and I get skittish.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to try and get this to run for 10 minutes, give up, delete it.
Right? And the only thing that's tough about this is I'm spoiled by the way that Xbox Live and PlayStation have handled their matchmaking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to get into a server. So you got to select a server, see what players are in there. Mm-hmm. It's very much like Counter-Strike, which I've never really played, but there's different themes, different rules, or if you ever were in a Quake or Doom 2 or something like that. I don't know. It just worked though, and it's only multiplayer though. There is no single player campaign that you can play through with this. It's only multiplayer, and there's new maps that they made based on single player campaigns. So you can't play the original game, but you can play stuff that feels like the original game, but in a competitive sense.
Okay,
It's kind of
that makes
cool.
sense.
You make private servers, which is neat, so you and your friends can have like a game night. I posted this in the Cartoon Retrocast Diamond Elite Club.
Mm-hmm.
I thought everybody in the group would jump at the chance to organize like a Retrocast game night.
Mm-hmm.
Very little interest. So I thought I was going to come in there all sweet, and it was kind of a thud. So my brother, though, I talked him through how to get this up and running. So I think we will be doing that. If you have any interest in playing some GoldenEye with me or my brother, I will get a hold of us on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, and I will get a hold of you when we actually get a game or two going. Should be fun. So, yeah, man. That should be it for news. So, I know you're in the middle of. Should I talk about what I've been playing first, or are you ready to go?
You go first.
Okay. I'll be relatively quick, I think. So, anybody that's been listening to our show the last several weeks, I've been having some issues with the Xbox One controller related to not only my PC directly, but also with the Steam Link. And did some Googling, and Valve released a firmware update for the Steam Link to allow for the Xbox One Bluetooth protocol to work. And then there was also an update to the Xbox One controller itself with new firmware, which would allow it to work more properly with Windows 10 if you had Bluetooth instead of just the dongle. Like, it worked great with the dongle, but if you didn't have the dongle and you tried to use Bluetooth, it was wonky and wasn't recognized appropriately. So, unfortunately, there is an app through Windows 10 you have to install called Xbox Accessories.
Mm-hmm.
You launch that, then use a USB cable and plug your Xbox One controller in, and then it updates the firmware in the controller. And once I did that and updated my Steam Link's firmware, it worked flawlessly. So now the Xbox One controller is working as you think it would with Bluetooth on the Steam Link, and it's amazing. It's gotten me hooked hard on Burnout Paradise.
Oh, all right.
The first time I got Burnout Paradise, I think I got it from a Humble Bundle or something.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it. I guess I wanted Forza more. I don't know. Then there was something about hunting for a race or hunting for an objective, which irked me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, it's way easier and quicker to get into a race or upgrade your item or get a new car. It was way easier and less time consuming than I thought it would be. And it's like, for example, there are times where they will say, hey, if you see this car randomly racing around and you wreck it, you get it in your collection. My first thought is, well, this sucks. Like, I'm not hunting for a stupid car driving around aimlessly. The game is designed to have that car show up pretty damn regularly so that you can wreck. You know, like, it's not nearly as open world as they made it seem. It's way more driving from one stoplight to another is the menu select.
Yeah.
So I have been very hooked on that, and it was weird because right after I got my Steam controller working, 2 days later, Jeff Gerstmann on Giant Bombs just started streaming that game. It's like, I just felt like playing Burnout. I'm like, man, I just got into that. What a weird world, right? So that was. Go ahead.
The first time I played that game, I spent hours just cackling like an idiot, wrecking people, racing. Oh, it's so fun. It's just kinetic, stupid fun.
It it is. It really is, and it's smooth, and it
Hmm.
feels fast, and it's that right kind of arcadey where it is not realistic, but it feels like it is because the card does what you want it to do.
Hmm.
It's very forgiving in damage. If you wreck, it doesn't punish you. You don't automatically lose the race. There's great rubber banding where you can still come back because the hook is the upgrade. The hook, unlike Forza where the hook is the gameplay,
Hmm.
this has great gameplay, but the hook feels like it's about the upgrades and the progression.
Yeah.
Where Forza is like the other way, where it's about the gameplay, and in Forza 3, there were just buttons that were like, just press one button and it upgrades everything for you. So you don't even have to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's great. I've been really impressed with Burnout. I'm super glad I have it. And it's fun to play. It's a good controller game. It's good stuff. And then also every night I had been playing Tricky Towers when I'm done with Burnout Paradise. I love it. I that game is amazing. Have you installed it and tried it yet?
Not yet.
I'm telling you, man, you will have one of the best date nights ever, or you have in a long time if you download that and play that with Kim. It is super fun.
I don't have a second controller.
What?
I don't have a second controller.
I rarely ever use a second controller, but but in my own mind, I think I need it. So all of my game systems have multiple controllers. It's weird because when you break it down economically, it's like I just paid $50 for one instance of playing this multiplayer game. It doesn't make much sense. Well, you should look to try to find a used one next time you're at the. You got that good retro store, or a couple of them, I think, by you. Look for, maybe they've got some used ones for like $30.
Yeah, maybe so.
And Sully's getting old enough. He's beating levels.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to start to get to the point where you're going to have to play at the same time.
Meh.
I mean, I guess
I'll just
it's
ground.
only 3 or 4, but
Yeah. If he wants to play with me, I'll just ground him for something, and he won't be able to.
man, I'm glad you're not my dad and just my friend. But yeah, so Tricky Towers is great. Download it just in case, like cash that in. It's a great party game, 4-player local co-op,
I think I have it.
still free.
I think-
Did you buy all the games this month?
I think so.
Then you got it. Okay.
I should probably check it.
Double
Make
check,
sure.
because it's a gem. I mean, it's not Rocket League good, but it's surprising in that kind of sense. I didn't think I would enjoy it that much. And my buddy was over Friday or Saturday. We're drinking beers and just kind of chilling out, and we got hooked to the point where it's like, dude, it's late. My wife's gonna be pissed. I gotta get going. So that was a lot of fun. I would highly recommend getting into Tricky Towers. If you're a PSN member, it's gonna be around for another 10 or 14 days. Make sure to cash in on that. And hell, if it's too late, just buy it. It's really fun. It's active right now, so that it's quick to get a game, which is great. And the games are quick. They're varied. And I don't know, it's a new rule set. The way the physics work, like, you have to pay more attention to the blocks interlocking.
Mhm.
Where, like, you can... I wonder if the stream... Okay, I was going to say, the stream went down. You'll put blocks on seams so that they can't, like, fall over, because you've got it cemented down by another block. So if you're a nerd about puzzles and transitive properties of the way, like, inertia works, if you were in grade school and the day that they talked about keystones, with archways,
Mhm.
if you liked that, then you will enjoy the way this game works, which is cool.
Or if they were talking about the beer.
Yeah, I hate Keystone.
I don't know that I've ever had it.
It's the shit that didn't make the quality standards for Coors Light.
Ooh, all right.
It's very similar to it's like got the, like there's Bud Light, and then technically Busch Light's a step down, and then technically Natty Light is the step down from that.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the lower rung of that, but in the Coors family instead of the Bud Light family.
Oh, okay.
My favorite joke about beer of all time. I'm going to tell it right now. How is Coors Light like having sex in a canoe, Dustin?
How?
It's fucking too close to water. I heard that and thought it was so funny. You can use that with any American beer, right? But
yeah.
I heard it with Coors, so that's the one that I go with. But yeah, so anyways, back to what I've been playing. Castlevania has been my obsession.
Yes.
I have been chipping away at Rondo of Blood. I'm in stage 4, and one of the beauties about old games like this is, on paper, I haven't made much progress since the last podcast.
Right.
But I have made a tremendous amount of progress, where I get further into the level every time now than I did before. And I'm learning the boss, and it's just... It's amazing to me that style of gameplay is nearly perfect. And it was there because of the limitations of the system. They couldn't make games any bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the best. Like, I just love feeling like I'm getting smarter and better, and it's great. And on the Vita, it plays perfectly. It's satisfying. I love it.
What stage is level 4?
It is the one where I'm gonna say it's like kind of like yellowish bricks.
Okay.
You start off the level with 2 of the like jumping midget guys or jumping dwarf guys or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to the right, and then you get to the edge of the stage, and then there's a platform to go back left on the top of the stage, and there's a candle with an axe on the top right.
Mm-hmm.
And what's that boss? I know I've battled the boss a couple times. I can't remember at the moment. But
is it Gallahan?
Boss names, I have no idea.
Is it a knight with his head that comes off?
No.
Okay.
Maybe I haven't gotten to the boss then. I guess the thing I've been struggling with the most is it's where they start to introduce the like the skulls of like almost like a cow or a bull that's on like a long neck, and it starts to shoot fireballs at you.
Okay.
I know those are prevalent in Castlevania games, but this is where this starts to get tough. And it's right... Do you remember the first time that's introduced and you kill like the long neck skull thing and a bunch of hearts drop?
Mm-hmm.
And you immediately go pick up the hearts or else you lose them? That's the stage I'm on.
Okay.
And I'm playing the main line, not the side quest stuff.
Word.
It's great. So I was talking with Damez over BattleNet, right?
Right.
And he mentioned to me that Castlevania Rebirth on the Wii is fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, fuck it. $10, I'm going to go get this game. And come to find out, it's Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth, which is I don't know, like an HD-ish remake of the Game Boy game, Castlevania The Adventure. And I never played the Game Boy game.
It's not very good.
Well, the Rebirth game is.
Yes, it is.
It's really... The music's great. The sprites work the right way. It feels like a Super Nintendo version of a Game Boy game. I don't know. It's really, really good. I got paranoid, though. I bought the game. So there's this... I forget exactly how I fixed it, but I kept getting this. Oh, I remember. I had to add a new internet connection to my Wii U. I had to reconnect to my local network.
Okay.
So it was really strange. I could launch the Wii channel through the Wii U, so I get into the Wii emulator. Then I could get into the Wii shop, and I could get to WiiWare, and I could add points and buy points. But then, as the download would start, when it would get close to finishing, it would give me an error. So I did some Googling, and it was basically like reconnect your Wii U, and it should work, and that ultimately ended up working. But it was really frustrating. It gave me that moment of panic of, did I just give them $10 for a service that's completely shut down? Like, did they allow money to come in but no information go out? And it was just kind of like a weird bug thing. Castlevania is great. Rebirth is really good. I would highly recommend it. And Rondo of Blood is excellent. And yeah, anybody, I've noticed our chat stream, our Twitch keeps kind of screwing up. Kind of keeps reloading on my screen anyways. OBS doesn't say I'm dropping frames, but Twitch doesn't look like it's real happy. AT&T, I think they've throttled me this month.
Huh.
Do you remember I told you that my data cap was like 600 gigabytes and I was like well over a terabyte already?
Yeah.
Randomly, right after I got that, AT&T just across the board upped the standard data cap. So I'm now at 1 terabyte every month instead of 600 gigs.
Man.
I'm still going way over because my well, all right. Well, there are games I've downloaded, right? I stream a lot of stuff, but then also I realize a huge thing is my backup software got real screwed up when I reformatted my computer. So it's re-backing up a lot of files.
Okay.
Which I have probably 2 terabytes of information on my computer that I back up. So
I don't back up anything.
that's like not using a condom at a whorehouse. Like, you're just asking for it.
I don't care. I'll set this computer on fire right now. I don't care.
If you... I get dibs on creating an avatar for you if you have to do this shit over your phone. So, but yeah, that's been it, man. Xbox One controller started working. Castlevania. I don't know if I should be happy that I missed out on falling in love with Castlevania as a kid, and I'm getting to now. The first time I loved Castlevania was Shadow or Xbox.
Lords of Shadow?
Lords of Shadow, yeah. I almost said Shadow of Mordor, which is a terrible joke from years ago from our show. But yeah, that was the first time I was like, oh, I really like Castlevania. This is sweet. And I don't know, man. You've not only inspired me to play it, but I've been worn down enough. Man, Castlevania is a treat. I freaking love it. It's so fun.
Yes.
Like, with such good music, and the controls like are just consistent. I wouldn't necessarily say good, but it's something to learn. It's something to get good at. They're like, you feel good when you do it well. It's great. It's like juggling. Like, this doesn't make any sense, but when you can pull it off, it feels so good. Like, why would you want to do this? I don't know. Like, why would it be satisfying to get knocked back really far and fall into a hole if I get hit? Like, that doesn't sound fun, but it is. So you got me hooked, man. Castlevania's great. So, all right, man. Well, what have you been playing now that your phone is kind of chilled out a little bit?
Oh, I was gonna say something. Whenever you get tired of the 2D Castlevania, try Dark Souls or Demon Souls.
I was thinking, it's weird that you said that. I had that thought where, of course, Dustin would love Dark Souls.
I'm telling you, those Souls games are the best 3D Castlevanias there are.
that makes I'm starting to that makes sense logically to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But on the deeper level, I'm really starting to understand what is meant by that statement.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
It's really,
I love that you love it.
like I'm getting so hooked on Castlevania. I've been playing Castlevania every day for like 2 weeks now, at least a little bit.
Oh yes,
It's so fun. I don't know, man. Like, I loved Mario, I loved Contra, I loved Mega Man, and here's a slice. It's kind of like that when you tell somebody about an amazing show or an amazing movie, and you're like, jealous, like, oh man, I want to go back to not knowing anything about this.
yeah.
You know, that's I've uncovered one of those. Man, it's just. And I've watched enough videos, and I'm familiar enough with the series, and I've talked with you enough about it that I'm understanding a lot of the callbacks. I love how they're very consistent. They start off with the same level. And in Castlevania Rebirth, they use the beginning, the initial, like, 4 or 8 bar measure to start the stage, so that traditional Castlevania music is the chime that starts the level, and then the real music plays. Now, I don't know if that was in the Game Boy game or not, but it's a lot like how I was really, really impressed with the Angry Video Game Nerd being so self-aware to do callbacks for his fans. It's an amazing thing, I think, to be able to do that, and Castlevania does that. They do great callbacks and remind you of the original stuff and provide you something different. And it's all old. Like, there's just a whole... I love it. I'm having a great time with it. So I'm very excited to beat Rondo of Blood. And I am a little nervous that they're just not... I might be disappointed. I'm going to turn into like a Castlevania like snob. You know? Like, oh no, but I play Rondo.
Man, you've got like 4 or 5 more that are excellent.
I own 1, 2, and 3 on NES. I own 4, so I've got the real carts on some of the really good ones. I got Bloodlines, which I've never been able to beat. So I have access to some of the great ones. And after Rondo, I think I'll keep chipping away. I think the one I'm most intimidated by is 3 on the NES.
Man, yeah, that one's. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm saving that one until I'm like desperate for Castlevania, so.
I think I did a walkthrough of that one too, so if you need
yes.
Okay, good. Man.
One of the fun things about the way you did the playthrough of Rondo on our channel was super fun, because like the first 3 or 4 episodes are all alternate paths.
Okay.
And then you stop the series, and then you start it again and play through normally. And then you end like 5 and 6 with like the endings.
Sweet.
So I was able to enjoy watching what I had played through, see what I hadn't seen, and then stop the playthrough when it got to, I guess, me being worried about spoilers. So I'm going to brute force my way through the game. And what's great is when I was talking to Dumez this last weekend, he asked for your personal channel. Because he's like, all I want is, I'm stuck in Rondo. I want to see how Dustin beat it. And I'm like, oh, that was actually on our channel.
Yeah.
So it was from before. Like, Dumez feels like he's been around forever, right, with the podcast. And you made those videos before he was an integral part of our show every week. So,
man,
those don't feel that long ago, but you made those years ago. Maybe 2013?
Yeah, I think that I was actually still using this like headset to do audio, so it sounds like crap.
It actually doesn't, because you have gameplay behind it. Like, you can get away with a lower... Our podcasts from that era, you can tell that I'm on a USB mic and you're on a headset mic.
Yeah.
And I remember even that's why I bought a new mic, and I'm like, I'm buying a new mic so that Dustin can have my old one, just so we sound some. Because I didn't. We did this for fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way I could ever ask you to, hey, why don't you drop $100 on a microphone for a hobby that we do once a week, you know? It just didn't make any sense. So it was one of those things where it's like, if I want us to sound similar, I gotta buy the mic and send it to you. Because it'd be a shitty thing for me to ask, I think. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
Like, and I mean, if we were like earning proper income, I would be like, dude, step up your mic quality.
Right.
And the ironic thing is, you sound so much better than me. I don't understand. I think I just have less bass in my voice. You just have a much better voice than I do. Like, I'm all tinty, and you're like, Barry White, like, so, like, damn it. How do I inflate that? How do I sound that good? So, yeah, okay. Let's talk about what you've been playing.
Speaking of monsters,
Okay.
December 25th, 2015, unbeknownst to me, Mega Ran and Richie Branson drop Ghouls and Ghosts 3.
They did a third one?
Mm-hmm.
And they dropped it on Christmas last year.
Of last year. It's called A Nightmare Before Christmas, so it's actually pretty cool.
Perfect.
But I figured this out Sunday night. This is the best Mega Ran and Richie Branson have been together or separate, period.
Really?
This album is so good.
Really?
It is fantastic. It is for sale for $6.60 something cents. I bought it for $10.
I hope that people understand the gravity. I'm not calling you a cheapskate, but I'm calling you a dad.
Yeah.
And if you voluntarily overpaid for something,
That means something.
that speaks volumes to the quality. That's like tipping when you don't have to. It's like tipping the UPS guy.
I can't tell you how many times after the show, Scott and I have been talking about something, and I'll be like, "This is amazing! I gotta buy it." Oh, it's $10. Never mind.
Yeah. And you didn't even have to spend 10.
No. Oh, it's so good.
I'm definitely getting it. Next week, we'll feature a song from it.
Yes, I think the track "Runaway."
Okay. I love those two. They're so... okay. Do you know how... when people try to rap about maybe sports or like something like Christian rock, it sounds so corny, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are rapping about nerdy shit, and it doesn't sound corny to me. It sounds really clever and intricate, and there's great references that you have to listen to it on multiple times to get. I thought Mega Ran's like spoiler rap about Stranger Things was amazing.
Yeah.
And when Richie Branson when we had him on the show, which was a long time ago, over 100 episodes ago, he was on.
Holy cow!
Yeah, when he did the Star Wars MMO rap album, the more I learned about that, the more I realized, like, oh my god, he's on point with like every syllable. It's intricately done. It's really, really good, and it's not just. It doesn't sound like you or I could make that rap up. And generally, when someone makes a video game rap, it sounds like you or I could have made those lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And these, That's great. I will get it.
Like it's a fantastic hip hop album that just happens to be by two nerdy guys rapping about Halloween.
And that's how it needs to be done. You know?
Yeah.
It's got to be good music, and then they flex their expertise muscles on whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true in most music. Like the stuff that doesn't sound corny, it comes from it starts with the music almost instead of starting with like the subject matter. I don't know if that's always true, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like they sat down like, you and I are going to make a Stranger Things rap. Like, we don't have the chops to do that. If you and I tried to do that, we'd be so embarrassed.
Unless we took it to the extreme and it purposefully like went all in on how bad it is.
But even that's tough because then it's like you almost have to be unaware of how bad it is for it to be that bad. Like,
yeah,
I think that's why I like some of the comedies that are awkward or real dry. Because I think it's really hard to pull that off. Like a lot of British humor is like that, or something like The Office. Well, I guess The Office was a British show.
Mm-hmm.
There's a delicate balance there that I think is just, I can't imagine pulling that off. So I'm glad that these guys were able to do that. And next week we're definitely gonna. I'll buy that when we're done recording, and I'll feature a song next week.
I'll say the weakest song is First to Go. Like I think it was done by Megaran. Like he was the one that put it all together. Because Megaran sometimes he just seems off. I don't know if it's his DJ or if it's his lyrics, but they're just kind of like that could have been tighter. The whole song.
Yeah.
But it's called First to Go, and it makes up for it by being super funny because it's them rapping about being the black guy's always the first one to die when the horror movie.
Oh, that's funny.
So they're like, if something pops off, I'm gonna die first.
Yeah, he'd be a fun guest to have on. Mega Man. Been a fan of his for a long time. So
yeah, since way back.
Yeah, I loved his Mega Man 9 album. That's an old game now.
Yeah, the reason I know about Megaran is because you played Splash Woman at the end of one of your episodes.
Yeah, oh, that song's so good.
Yeah.
That's my favorite boss and weapon in Mega Man 9 is Splash Woman. She's got the what's that called?
Trident.
Trident. Thank you. I would have taken me forever to figure.
So it's also my favorite gum. So.
Did you ever have the stripes? They've got those, not fruit stripe gum, but they've got like Trident. That's like mashed with other colors or flavors. So you can get like a creamsicle Trident. It's like orange and white.
That's weird. No.
Keep an eye out for that.
That sounds like witchcraft.
Well, it should save it for Halloween, which we're getting eerily close to.
Eerily, I like what you did there.
That wasn't even intentional.
Yeah, I think 74 days. 73 days.
That's
2 hours.
Disgusting. No. Yeah. That's what you were looking at. You weren't texting your wife back. You were just looking at the Halloween countdown.
Yeah.
That's what you do while you're waiting for tickets to roll in at work. You're just staring at this like countdown clock.
Oh man! Speaking of Halloween, Dead Rising.
Dead Rising.
There's zombies in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what spiked my interest in Dead Rising, but it's like, man, I want to play that again. But before I play it, I want to. That has New Game Plus in it, and I want to level up my guy all the way to level 50 because it really helps the playability of the game when you're at level 50.
Oh, okay.
Because you have a limited stock when you first start out. You have like 4 hits of life. You're slower. You are weaker. So you really want you can. There's an underground like maintenance tunnels, and you can get in cars and drive the cars through this maintenance tunnel in such a way that you kill like 100, like thousands of zombies at one time. And the more zombies you kill, the more prestige points you get, the more which acts as experience.
Oh, okay.
So you kill a bunch of zombies, you level up.
This is the franchise that got I'm going to say in trouble. They had the PR backlash. Didn't they have like wasn't it the sequel that they had like a naked lady bust or like a...
Oh, no, that was
Oh, Dead Island. Dead Island.
Dead Island.
That's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
of. Yeah, they had that like bikini. It always reminded me. Do you remember the Saved by the Bell episode where they were having a house party at Screech's and there was like an Elvis statue that fell? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sounds familiar.
Like, and they ended up... I want to say they bribed some nerd to pay enough money so they could buy a statue at like a pawn shop so the nerd could kiss Jesse, and then they made the nerd kiss a dog. And somehow the statue, they get it right before Screech's mom comes home, and she sees the replacement statue, and she's like, "It's fake. The statue's wrong." And everyone's like, "Oh my god!" She knows that it's a replacement, and she turns the statue backwards so that it faces the kitchen, and she says something like, "Elvis likes to watch me cook," and it's like that's the big relief moment of the show. But I don't remember that so intricately. I can't remember.
That's why I hate.
I was gonna say I couldn't give you a tally of what I did today, other than being upset. So
That's what I hated high school because it was nothing like Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, high school was just like
it was school.
It was a grind of school until you could do something social.
Yeah, I was like, man, this is boring. TV lied to me.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I don't know. I had a really good high school experience, and still, like, I remember things that I dreaded about it. About like the school. Like, I had good friends. Like, I had a relatively drama-less girlfriend.
I was I was in Iraq for my first tour, and I had a dream that I was in high school, and I woke up relieved to be back in Iraq.
Oh man, that is wow.
I woke up and was like, oh yeah, thank God I'm in this.
Thank God I'm in a cot in the desert with with swamp ass I've had for a month and a half.
Gonna get shot in the face before breakfast.
I'm glad you
But
didn't.
I didn't
We're on
get shot
camera
in the
now.
face. I
I would have let you on the podcast with a messed up face, but it's
Right,
good that only one of us looks autistic, you know.
Other than Dead Rising, I've been playing more Sonic Generations, and Solly and I seem to be playing it more frequently than he kind of likes to watch me play it,
I can
and he'll take
understand
over
that.
once in a while. Yeah,
It's beautiful. It's a
Yeah,
really
it's-
good looking Sonic game.
and we have been we've maxed out the red rings in a lot of the levels that we've gotten to.
That's good.
It's it's really weird how the way that they hide the rings. Like I'll go through a level over and over and over looking for this last ring, and I'll be like, "Where in the hell is this ring? I've been looking. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it." And then I'm done. It'll just be like I should have gone. Like I've gone through the level a million times, and this one time I went up instead of like straight,
Right.
and I find it. A lot of the times, especially in the 3D Sonic, the modern Sonic levels, they do a really good job of showing you where they are by showing you like alternate paths. Where when you first go through, you're trying to go like super fast, and you're like, you don't know what the level's like. But once you kind of have an idea of what's coming, you'll notice like the one branching path over here that you have to jump to.
Exactly, because like my experience has always been the first time you reach one of the new Sonic levels, like I would get so focused on the rhythm of target, hit the enemy, target, target, and you get so used to that, like, that ping pong game play mechanic that you don't notice that if you wouldn't have tried to, parlay, is that the right word? Build on your kind of enemy streak and stay in the air, you will notice, like, oh, off to the right, if I don't go through this continuous, like, hit 4 enemies in a row, I can sneak off to the side, and then there'll be a little, red ring above, like, a little yellow jump spot. And it'll put you right back onto the correct path.
Yeah, it's a really cool game. If you haven't played that, you should go back to it.
Yeah, I remember Josh recommending it for me. Andrew, this was a shout out for you. Gooch recommended it for me as like a rental. He's like, yeah, don't buy it, but rent it. And it was like maybe one of the only things I've ever gotten from Redbox. It was really good. Oh, speaking of, huge congratulations to Josh. He bought a house.
Whoa.
And it is amazing. It is
That's awesome.
Beautiful. It's in the hills of Kentucky, and it looks like a ranch house from the front, but it's 2-story because it's kind of built into the hill. And he's got kind of a cool, long, winding driveway, and it's like all like move-in ready. It's gorgeous. So
that's awesome.
Now I'm gonna feel comfortable. Now that he's bought a house, I'm going to feel comfortable putting the social pressure on him to start coming back on regularly.
Yeah.
He's talked about having the interest, but clearly he's been like really busy. He's got a job, kids, and just bought a house. Like, he hasn't even moved in yet. It closes in like 2 weeks, and then there's another 30 days from there. So he's still some time away. But there's a very good chance that Josh will become regular again, which will
that would be freaking sweet.
Yeah, I'd be excited because we've been lacking the any sort of MMO or RPG stuff. Like, our RPG stuff is like, if it's not Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy, we have no idea.
I can't tell you anything about Ni no Kuni.
I know it looks good, and I know that it's like long in the tooth towards the end and takes about 40 or 50 hours to beat.
There's a guy.
PS4?
He had like a lantern in his nose or something.
Yeah, it was a very cute looking game. I had no interest. I might try one of those newer Square games. Did you play that game, the Setsune, whatever it's called? It's like a new PS4 game. There's like a branch of Square where they're just going and making old school RPGs again.
Cool.
And the Setsune, I think is how to say it, is like their first kind of out of the gate. And it sounds like maybe a 1.5 year kind of development cycle. It's a isometric kind of view. It, instead of, what you get in Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy, it's just an updated graphics version of that kind of stuff. But it's made from a core of... It's made to be like those games, just newer. Kind of like the way that Rayman now is just an iteration of the way platformers looks like they were going to go. And it's kind of like a niche thing. If you like platformers, you'll probably really like Rayman. If you really like those old JRPGs, then Square's going to be kind of feeding that, which is really cool. They've got like their own indie studio. I agree. Not only are younger kids going to be exposed to that kind of gameplay style, but people our age that loved those games will get a chance to not have to go back to an original one. They'll get to play something that's new, but clunky in the way that you want it to be.
Yeah, maybe they'll get super smart, and they'll go back and be like, you know what? Chrono Trigger 2, but like Mega Man 9 style, so it's Super Nintendo graphics.
If they're smart, they won't put Chrono Trigger on there, and they'll just imply that that's what it is. As soon as you write Chrono Trigger, there's no way it's going to live up to the hype. You're talking like No Man's Sky level stuff.
I say go for it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I want you to run a big company. I like those balls. I'm like the pessimist. I'm like, can't do it. Nope, not going to work. And you're like, yeah.
What do you need? You need triple text. You need time travel. You need to forget about Chrono Cross ever happening.
Yes.
You can do that with time travel. You can just like, oh, they went back in time and it never happened.
Yeah, you definitely got to keep the party limited, and you can't give the player too much choice in party composition until the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of force the party and give a little bit. You need scaling so that you can't leave a party member behind. So if you left Luca or Marley ignored, if you come back to them, it's not like they're going to be like 10 levels behind everybody.
Ooh, yeah, good call.
You need, because Chrono Trigger did that. You need that kind of stuff. What else would you need? Yeah, time travel, limited parties,
good music. No,
obviously.
you need to get Yasunori Mitsuda, wherever he's at.
Yeah, and then you need like somebody that just really appreciates brevity. Like everybody thinks Chrono Trigger is like a 40-hour game, and it's like a 12-hour game.
Yeah, it's super quick.
But it doesn't feel like, it still felt, fast, I guess, for the time.
What else? Bandanas,
Bandanas,
katanas.
I was gonna say
Katana?
swords. Yeah, for sure, katana. You definitely need a frog, but a different frog, some other animal that there's no way it would be badass, but it is because it's a video game.
Gerbil.
I was gonna say squirrel, so we are right. Gerbils and squirrels have to be in the same, like, family tree, whatever.
They're interchangeable, basically, right?
I mean, around here, yeah. Although wouldn't it be weird if you just saw gerbils running around instead of like you'd see squirrels? I only think of gerbils in like grade school classrooms or
yeah.
Man,
who was catching wild gerbils?
I don't
they
know
exist,
this.
Right?
I feel like they were kind of engineered like dogs are. Like it was a domesticated rat or something. I don't understand what a gerbil like is in the wild.
Yeah. If you need them to find the wood chips, I don't know.
I don't know. It's a weird thing. It feels manufactured. Like how could something like that like exist in the wild? So
GMOs.
I love that kind of conspiracy stuff. Like that's a rabbit hole to go down that is fun. Look at GMOs, pros and cons, speculation. Oh, I gotta love speculation on sensitive topics. YouTube videos galore. So, okay, man. And then also you have Atomic Runner on here. What is that?
This is the one I want to get in the most detail. So I remembered that I had a bunch of Game Center CX episodes on my terabyte. Was it my book? It doesn't matter. I have a terabyte hard drive with a bunch of episodes on it.
By the way, Terabook would be a great like Chrono Trigger : Terabook.
Ooh, yeah. I'd play that game.
Ton of information. Could contain time travel. Okay, go.
And
the secret's
the villain is like this cloaked, like, badass, and the name it's a lady, and her name is Terra. So it's like, and it turns out she's an AI that worked for
with a gerbil named Bite as her little minion.
Yes. She's a future AI from the past
that runs a library with a little gerbil.
Damn it!
That'd be disappointing if it was that spot on. If it was that on the nose. you go through a 30-hour campaign to find out you're fighting a librarian. I'm picturing like a shadowy version of the witch from Sleeping Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Is the terabyte book lady?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Atomic Runner.
Oh yes, I was watching Game Center CX episodes, and the Atomic Runner episode was one of the ones I randomly selected. And this game looked so good, I had to buy it, so I picked it up off of eBay. And I was playing it today, and it is like a horizontal shoot 'em up mixed with Contra.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's for the Sega Genesis, and every level is auto scrolling, and you can fire in multiple directions. You can power up your weapon. The screen is auto scrolling, and you have enemies coming in, but they're coming in from both sides, so you have to turn around sometimes. So when you hit you hit right and you move right, but if you hit left, then you'll stop moving for a moment. But if you hit C and left, then you'll turn around, and then you can fire to the left while you're moving backwards, but you're actually moving right.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's
like that cocky bastard that was good at like skating backwards playing roller hockey.
Yes, that, yeah. But yeah, you have all kinds of different weapons that you can use, although I don't know how useful many of them are. Like, I usually just use the base weapon.
I totally would have rented this game. That cover art for the Genesis is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like a dude with laser hands, and he's the nucleus of an atom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have rented the hell out of this. And the pixel art looks great.
Yeah.
Big enemy sprites. Have you made it to the Statue of Liberty?
Not yet. I think that's actually no, it is. It's the very final boss fight. What else? You travel to different places all over the world, and the music is like the Egyptian level is like clearly Egyptian music.
Okay.
So the music is really cool. It's really stylized. So far, I'm not great with the Genesis controller. I've come to find out, at least when it comes to action games, because I'm so used to, like, I have it in my head, like I'm hitting my shoot button, and then I just flatten my thumb out to hit my jump button.
Yeah.
And on the Genesis, it's you shoot with the B button and you jump with the A button.
Does a lot of Genesis games give you the options in the menu to switch those around?
Mm-hmm.
Does this game have that?
It does.
Okay.
I was playing on base settings, just to like play it and get a feel for it, see what I thought of it. And I like it. It's definitely one of those games where I will super enjoy learning it.
Like me and Castlevania, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's,
yeah.
I mean, they still do that with games now. That's why I love Dark Souls. Like, that's... what a good gaming experience. It looks like this has some alternate names that you might be familiar with. Chelnov or Kelnov?
Yeah, Chelnov is what they call it in Japan.
In Japan, okay. There's a screenshot here that has like the Soviet sickle next to Atomic Runner, and then Chelnov in the title. Is this also an arcade game?
Yes, I think I remember playing this arcade game.
Yeah, there's something from Clav. Cool.
Yeah, I got like halfway through the 4th level, but I put, like, there's 7 levels.
Okay.
And I went in the options and I put like all the lives I could have and all the continues I could have. So it turns into like 75 lives.
I love how that's a very consistent thing in Genesis games. It's very unlikely to not have that option.
Yeah.
Like all my favorite ones do. Like even shit ones like Tasmania, I think did. But like Vector Man and Sunset Riders or Gunstar Heroes or probably Booger Man, like all those, they have the ability to kind of crank that up. Rondo of Blood, or not Rondo of Blood. Bloodlines. That has that option too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
can change your continues and difficulty and lives and all that. Contra does it. Yeah, man, most of those. I think Golden Axe, going back to that, I think that does. Yeah. Genesis doesn't get enough love. I love the Genesis.
That's true. Yeah, I need to play more Genesis. Well, it's hooked up now, so I can.
I love the feel of that controller, though. I understand like the button placement with ABC is a little wonky, but if you had a diamond shape like you did on the NES or the Super Nintendo, the way that controller kind of bows out and gives you grips, so you put Nintendo buttons in the form factor of the Genesis. Mind blown. It's like my perfect retro controller. Do you mind me asking how much you paid for this? Is this a rare game? Is it a common game?
I would go uncommon, but it's not gonna break the bank. You could
Like
probably
20,
get a
30
loose
bucks, something like that.
You could get a loose copy for probably between 15 and 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I picked up a complete copy for 45.
Oh, there you go. You're like Zarek, man. Going complete.
Yeah, well, this game looks cool, and 45 was actually kind of cheap for a complete copy.
Nice.
From what the other things I was seeing, yeah.
Well, if your history is any indication, this will be selling for $90 in about 3 weeks, and I'll be upset.
So, buy now.
You need. You're like those industry leaders that speculators follow. Like if Warren Buffett says I'm going to buy this kind of stock, like it just shoots through the roof, you know.
That's awesome.
Oh, good old Warren Buffett, a rich dude. Atomic Runner looks awesome, man. I'll have to keep an eye out for this. So definitely be one that every time I'm at a retro store, I'll be looking for this.
I wonder if it has a virtual release. So,
you know, the older I'm, I don't know.
If you want to buy, if you can, I don't know how you go about buying stuff on Japanese virtual console.
I guess unless it's something like Earthbound where it's $10 versus $120, I'll spend a little more just to get the cart. Like even 2 or 3 times the price. Like that G.I. Joe Real American Hero. I just wanted I wanted that cart. I could have played it on the emulator, but I really wanted that cart. So it's weird, like these games are back to what they cost when they released. What a weird. Oh, there's a Saturn one. Saturn port.
Huh, is there?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, don't click on that. Deceptive site ahead. Hey, yikes. Thank you, Google Chrome. Maybe it's fake. Don't go to warOSU.org. Google Chrome says no. It sounds like a Michigan fan site, like anti-Ohio State. WarOSU.org. Weird. Cool, man. Anything else you wanted to add about Atomic Runner before we jump into emails and comments and all that stuff?
It's a good game, and it's a good episode of Game Center CX. And also, I've been working on my collection list, my Excel spreadsheet.
I need to get back to mine. I haven't bought a lot, so it wouldn't take me a lot to get back up to speed. But
I'm doing mine from scratch, so it's taking a minute.
Yeah, well, a little bit every day. Just make it part of your routine.
Yeah.
I started when I was actively looking just to try to avoid duplicates. It's impossible to remember 300 games or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I can tell you, if you count handhelds, I have 37 consoles.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Gamester 81 over here. That's pretty rad, man.
Yeah.
37 consoles. I'm double digits if I start to get technical about stuff, but 30s, no way. Yeah, that's... Fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome. It's fun to play it on the original hardware. And a lot of people don't like the way... Honestly, I don't care if it looks a little fuzzy. Component cable, upscalers in HD TVs are pretty good now. I mean, if you want to record footage, you're kind of boned unless you want to pony up or use Fraps on an emulator. But Super Mario on an HD TV with your original NES looks fine.
Yeah, totally.
You know.
I wonder how those component cables for retro game systems, like the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis component cable guys on...
yeah, that Kickstarter we talked about a while ago. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if that came out. I don't know. Weird. I'm just gonna keep hoping for... Oh, I forgot to talk about this, Dustin. Look. I started getting...
Oh, yeah.
I started getting some mail. Look, Venture Island.
Ooh, sweet. Dude, that's awesome.
Do you have very many Famicom games? Actual Famicom
I've
cards?
got 6. 5, 6.
Look how, okay, so these are the same size, right? But look at the intricacies. Like, these carts are clearly different form factors. This one's from Loginsoft, and this one's... Do you say Jaleco or Jellico?
Jellico, I think.
I think Jellico's correct, but I always said Jaleco. And then this feels like more first party, I guess. This Adventure Island feels more like a traditional, short, squatted Famicom game. I didn't realize that there were these Sega Genesis Madden-looking EA carts as well. The biggest surprise I've seen from these Famicom games that I'm getting in the mail is that there's like no uniformity. I mean, there's consistency between brands, but Jellico and Hudson have different shaped carts. And Nintendo was very aggressive about maintaining that specific gray cart here in the US. It's just it's weird to see variants. It almost feels like I've got a bunch of bootlegs, right?
Right.
So I'm going to be so heartbroken if this retro AVS USB thing I bought doesn't show up. I'm going to have all these games that...
I got 3 words for you. Sharp Twin Famicom.
Okay. That'll be what I guess I go to. Now,
I mean, you have the games now. You have to.
Yes, I am totally pot committed. Now, if I have decided, if this clone does show up and does get made, and the gamble pays off, I am 100% going on eBay and getting a Famicom disk system with a new belt. They're not that expensive. It would be neat to have, and they designed the AVS system so that, you know, that cartridge that plugs into the Famicom slot that then connects to the... It fits. Like, it's just directly compatible.
Sweet.
Like, it was designed with the disk system in mind, which is very neat. Now, these are the guys... This RetroUSB.com, I thought they sounded real familiar. Do you remember... they made a lot of... it was kind of controversial, but they made a lot of headway with... These were the people that remade the World Championship cart.
Oh, yeah.
So they've made products that have worked before. They've released quite a few NES-related things, so I'm optimistic it'll work. They keep releasing more and more video footage of it working, and them doing some neat stuff with it, and video play, and confirming all sorts of things working, so I'm optimistic. I just hope that it's not years before this thing finally shows up. They said September. Hopefully that stays true. And if it does, yeah, I'm getting a Famicom just so I can have Doki Doki Panic.
Right.
You don't understand. Oh my god, I can like taste it. There's like no going back now. So yeah, a good deal.
I have an update.
Oh, okay. Update.
HD Retrovision were the guys that were doing the component cables.
And
let's see. They had an announcement 3rd of July 2016. It said our online store was launched and our entire cable stock was depleted within minutes.
good for them.
Yeah, we expect another shipment to arrive in late summer 2016, and there's a email sign up if you want to know when cables are ready.
Fantastic. Right.
Yeah.
With the Coleco Chameleon and some of the other clear ploys to just take advantage of people like us with our having nostalgia for old video games, it's nice to see that there are some people putting out some new hardware that is legit, is working. It's not vaporware, it's for real, and I think that's exciting. Yeah, we had somebody commenting on our YouTube channel about recording retro consoles, and using the Hapog products was a great solution 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, like you had talked about last episode, what passed then does not pass anymore.
Right.
It has to be a higher fidelity. It's got to be, if it's 30 frames a second gameplay footage, it's got to be crisp.
Yeah. And okay, for people who, like, just to give you an idea, go to Cinemassacre's YouTube channel and watch his first video so you understand what we have now compared to what we had then.
And at that time, there was no second guessing.
Right.
There was no critique of the visual fidelity. I remember in the episodes around the Virtual Boy, he apologized for guerrilla-style videography. And it was him just putting a camera up to the lens of the Virtual Boy and playing it. And I remember thinking, why is he apologizing? And now I look at it and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, totally. That looks terrible. But he was a filmmaker. Like, he understood fidelity at that time. He understood the importance of it looking good. I was there for the fart jokes. I was there to...
Right, yeah.
The videos still hold up well.
Fake poop on stuff.
Right? I'm squeamish about that. I hate poop. Like, it just grosses me out.
Please let that be the episode title. I hate poop.
I hate poop. It was going to be You Look Autistic, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling.
Okay.
I'll probably go... If you weren't here at the beginning of the episode, You Look Autistic would just be wildly offensive out of context. Yeah, so right. I'll probably go with the poop joke. Okay, well, let's get to component cables. Again, what was the name of the store if people want to sign up?
HD Retrovision.
HD Retrovision. If you're interested in the clone I'm talking about, it's at retrousb.com. Console's called the AVS.
Yeah, if you just go to hdretrovision.com, then you'll go straight to that.
Sweet. Good deal. That might be good for me to pick up just for like the Super Nintendo kind of components. Which is great. So, all right, man. Let's get to our comments from last episode, and then we will call it a show. Excuse me. So Demez says that he has an answer to our question. He says, I never heard your podcast before. I saw it on YouTube. And this is in reference to me, like, wondering if we've ruined the mind's eye of the podcast for anybody. And I must not have stated it very clearly. That, dumbass, you're exactly who I'm not talking about. You are somebody that found, like, you don't know any different. Like, you've seen us from the beginning, right? But what did we look like in your eye before you had heard of us? So I was looking at the audio-only listeners that looked at our YouTube and how much we've destroyed what was in their mind.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
the giant bomb guys looked completely different before I saw them.
it took me a long time to warm up to how they looked. I pictured Brad way different.
Hmm.
He was the one that really, like, I thought, whoa, I got him real wrong.
Yeah, for me it was Jeff. I had Jeff Gertzman just
Yeah.
completely different.
Hey,
Ryan Davis too. Now that I think about it.
yes, very much for me. I didn't expect some big, like, fat dude, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that, I got used to it, so I still don't, I don't know if I'll ever get around to enjoying watching them live. Even
No.
if, even if I like put on the podcast, like fall asleep to it, and I'm doing like the video version, I will actively not be watching it, just kind of taking it in.
That's awesome.
It's just what it is. So then, Dumbass also says that he found another Metroid Remake 2 torrent. He can hook me up if he'd like, or if I would like. Zerikar took care of me. I've got that taken care of. But if you want some help, Dumbass, message him on YouTube. DUHMEZ. He'll probably help you out. He says Kennedy was assassinated in a Ford Lincoln. Lincoln was assassinated in Ford Theater.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
And then
And what's great is this is a Canadian telling us the American history.
well, that's not necessarily like it's not a. That's kind of like a funny like side thing to know.
Yeah.
Like if we didn't know that Lincoln or Kennedy were assassinated at all, that would be a problem.
Okay. Yes, that's fair. And I get this is so bizarre. It wouldn't be that weird because we know quirks about other countries. So
Right.
Yeah. Makes sense. And then also, Dumbass says, from what I've heard about Xbox One's store, there will not be PC ports. Hold on, let me see. There will not be PC ports, and I don't think you will get 4K res out of the ports. There are lots of limits. So that's talking about the ability to buy the Windows Universal apps, kind of a cross-buy between Xbox One and Windows 10. Sounds like the Windows 10 versions will be a little gimped. Especially coming out of the gate. Related to console releases, the Famicom was first. The MSX came out shortly after. Pretty close from what he can remember. He said that the MSX had discs, cassette tapes, and cartridges. Some of the games came out in all three formats, or two formats for only one format. Man, how weird to have a Super Nintendo and have to decide if you wanted the cartridge or like the... I guess Sega would be closer. Do you want the Sega 32X version? Do you want the Sega CD version? Or do you want just the regular Genesis version?
Yeah. I get, well, what would... It's not, like, are you buying modules for that? It didn't seem modular. It seemed like it was just like, this is how it came. So what would be the difference between the formats? Like, the floppy disk was cheaper, but it didn't have music, and the cartridge was like super awesome, but it was expensive. That's curious. I wonder what the
that's worth digging into.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. That's so alien to the way that it is now, but it was such a new industry then that
yeah.
you know no one knew what they were doing. He says the NES Advantage also had variable speed, like I talked about the AVS system having variable speed. With its turbo functionality built in. He says the NES Advantage also had variable speed for rapid fire and slow-mo too. He used it as a kid, and his friend had it, and he loved it. He also said you can create Excitebike tracks with the Famicom disk system and save them. I did hear that. We didn't talk about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was the biggest bummer about Excitebike is... It was all gone as soon as you turned off your Nintendo. He also says Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection for the PS3 has Metal Gear 1 and 2, the MSX versions, and fully translated to English officially. He said a great thing to have so you don't need an emulator or patched FAMROM or anything like that. He said, or even worse, you don't have to patch into English the MSX ROM and then transfer it to an MSX floppy disks. That sounds painful. Yeah, that sounds like a pain in the butt. So,
Yeah.
Dumez always coming in there huge with the excellent information. He also had some the person that we banned in Twitch chat is following us now. I don't know if we're getting trolled or watch your Twitter blow up. There's also some neat stuff if you're into nerdy stuff. I've talked about this before. PBS's Space-Time channel is awesome. Dumez knows I like really nerdy science stuff related to physics. And there was a really cool thing called How the Quantum Eraser Rewrites the Past. It's a very great episode if you like very abstract science and physics stuff. They explain it well for the layman, which is very comforting. I can't do the math, but I do believe I have the capacity to understand some abstract concepts. So I really enjoy that kind of stuff. He also says it's kind of more of a PSA, moving your license from a Windows 10 PC to a new PC. You can't transfer your license from one PC to another, but it does allow for hardware changes. So because of that, there's that gray area. Like if you swap out a motherboard, will Windows 10 think it's a new machine kind of a thing? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, if you go to support and look at Windows 10 reactivating after hardware changes, there is functionality there. So if you're doing any upgrades or you want to try to transition your PC from one to another, go ahead and try to do that. There is some support at the official Microsoft forums for that. I'm not sure totally why he sent that. We must have had an offhanded comment about it. But again, I always appreciate his technical prowess on that kind of stuff. And then, Zarek came in with a banger of a comment.
Came in like a wrecking ball.
With some No Man's Sky stuff. So, so he's got some No Man's Sky. So, if you don't want to hear any No Man's Sky chatter, not that there's anything to really spoil, tune out now, but I would highly recommend sticking around. Zarek has a very keen ability to discuss games well, so take it away.
All right. I really went crazy with the comments in the stream last week. I'm going to try to keep my comments brief today because I plan on posting a mini review / opinion of No Man's Sky here. I know it's very likely that you will talk about the game this week, so I'm going to get ahead of the game and post my opinion of it on this week's episode, smiley face. I've never played Castlevania Rondo of Blood. I'm wondering if I should watch your vids on it or just play it myself on emulation. Did you get copyright claimed on those videos, by the way? All of my other Castlevania stuff got claimed by Konami. I hate Konami. I don't think we ever got any copyright stuff on Rondo.
Not on the Rondo ones, no.
We did on the 3D one that I never played all the way through. Curse of Darkness?
We definitely Konami's gotten us with a couple things, but for some reason, for like they left my Contra stuff alone. I've made 3 Contra videos, and none of them have gotten claimed.
Yeah, it's weird how whatever their trained robot goes after.
Yeah, it just shows it's algorithmic.
You can totally get. You can get it on Wii. I don't know. It feels like you're committing some sort of horrible crime by doing it through emulation.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from.
You need to buy a Turbo Duo. That's what I'm saying. No.
Don't tempt me, you will.
I can't help but think of Mario Maker every time you talk about your son doing something cool in a platformer. I think that if I had a kid, I would be training mine on custom Mario Maker levels. I would custom tailor the levels to fix some of the weaker aspects of his gaming skills. If I ever decide to have a child, I may train it from birth to be a pro gamer, the same way some crazy football dads groom their sons to be quarterbacks. I do realize that it would just be me living vicariously through my son. I used to play video games competitively when I was younger. I had the stuff, man. I've won tournaments and things. People have literally bet their cars on my gaming skills.
Damn.
The problem is that I was born too early. There wasn't enough money in it when I was young. I didn't have the cash to fly to places on my own dime. I no longer had the competitive spirit by the time competitive online games started to give large cash rewards. Warhawk was the last game I took seriously in a competitive aspect. I used to play a little bit of Warhawk when it first came out, and a year or so went by, and I went back to it and just got murdered. Like, everybody was so much better than me. I was just like, well, never playing this again. Let's see. Warhawk was the last game I took seriously in a competitive aspect. I won the first large online tournament for that game, by the way. My prize was a custom Warhawk trophy model thing and a reskin of my knife in the game. My character would run around with a battle axe that sort of also looked like a trophy, rather than a normal knife. No cash prize, of course. There was a level in the sky in Warhawk where I remember this vividly. It was like one of the coolest things I've ever done in a multiplayer game, where it was just me and this one guy were kind of like in a rivalry, and I was chasing him around, and he ducked into this building and started throwing mines around right in front of the door, and he was like inside the building behind the wall watching the door. And so I knew that if I tried to go in there, I'm going to step on a mine or he's going to shoot me. So I stopped and I shot the mine, and it blew up and killed him.
That
and I was like, I'm a tactical genius.
Yeah, right.
And then I died like 5 times in a row.
That's why you were happy to wake up in Iraq. You got that mindset of like, I will be smarter than you.
No cash prize, of course. I missed out on a lot of this episode. It was all of the research I was doing. Great episode. I really enjoyed it.
Dude, that's a rabbit hole, man. Video game price charting. That's a dangerous little taste of heroin there. It's like you cannot stop unless you know what all your games are worth. The first time, so sweet when you're like, oh man, Sunset Riders worth $80 now, loose. What else do I have? 4 hours go by.
All right, he says, here's the mini review, opinion / first impression of No Man's Sky. I have 10 hours in the game so far. I just checked Steam. No Man's Sky is a visual experience gated behind simple crafting and survival mechanics. If you're the type of person that frequently stops to appreciate landscapes while playing an action game, then this game may be for you. If you're the type of person who will climb an in-game mountain and hunt for the perfect view rather than hunt for the next monster, then this game may be for you. If you love exploration, this game may be for you. Keep in mind that I'm saying maybe for you. I continue to say may so much because No Man's Sky falls short in some areas that are important for exploration. This game looks bad graphically. It does a lot with its limited texture, but it could be so much better. I found many beautiful / stunning landscapes while playing this game. The problem arises when I try to get a closer look. The textures are bad to look at up close in most cases. The game also suffers from a lot of graphical hiccups. It would frequently stutter when I first started playing the game. I spent a few hours searching the internet and found a few fixes, and the game runs like butter on my GTX 970 PC now. I can get a very stable high frame rate with almost all of the settings maxed out. The game will still occasionally hitch when I scan a new plant or animal, though. The other visual problem No Man's Sky has to do with flight. Terrain will grow in front of my eyes all too frequently. Trees pop out of the ground and grow as if the world is being created by some god as I pass by. Mountains rise and fall. Lakes fill with water as they load in. No Man's Sky has a lot of problems visually from a technical standpoint, and I really hope Hello Games addresses these issues. With all of that being said, I'm still enjoying finding new creatures and landscapes. I can't help but stop and say and or think, wow, look at that every few minutes. Exploration was a word frequently used by Sean Murray when talking about No Man's Sky. It was very clear to me that this was the main point of the game. A universe that could be explored forever. The problem is that the game is incredibly diverse in some areas and stale and repetitive in others. Yes, every planet looks incredibly different, but they're all still basically the same. Granted, I've only explored 5 planets so far, but the pattern seems clear to me. Every planet has 0 to 10-ish creatures, it has 0 to 30-ish plants, and it has 0 to 20-ish types of small rock formations. I really love discovering plants and animals. I really like how you can tell that some of them must have had common ancestors at some point in the planet's past, but there are just too few of them to find on each planet. I haven't had the same problem everyone else is complaining about, The animals are wildly different on most of my planets. I even came across a planet that was overrun with mobile plant life.
That's cool.
Giant mushroom-looking things with tentacles roamed the landscapes. The sky was filled with giant snake-like dragons that one of my viewers called giant sperm dragons. I just can't wait to see what the next planet has to offer me. The biggest problem comes into play when looking for intelligent life. I've done a little research, and there are no cities in No Man's Sky. There aren't even any towns. I would love to be able to find a world that is fully inhabited by an alien race. I guess that's just too difficult to do from a technical standpoint, but at the very least, they need to add small towns with NPCs that move around living their lives. I said this would be many, so I'll stop here. In closing, I don't think this game is worth it for most people. I think that it may be worth it in the future, but you should wait for a few patches and a Steam sale. Sean Murray and his team are constantly working on the stability issues, so that's pretty promising. As far as my plans for No Man's Sky, this game is going to be my new I want to chill for a few hours game. I will continue to explore No Man's Sky, and hopefully I will continue to say, wow, look at that, over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, they sold so many copies, I'm hoping that they feel, motivated to hear the feedback from the community and continue, keep improving the game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for the people that let their own mind kind of get out of control.
Yeah, they're expecting like Star Trek or something.
Yeah. No, I mean, when I go and I did rewatch the first trailer, and I've got to say, man, I don't know if I've seen a better video game trailer in my life than that launch trailer from the VGX 3 years ago.
Huh.
Like I said earlier in the episode, I love that kind of music. Visuals looked good. The life looked kind of dense, and the I remember thinking like, oh my god, that just looks amazing. And I don't blame people for letting their expectations run wild. It really feels like it feels like that first Obama campaign. Well, if you think about it, because he ran on hope, and everybody internalized what hope meant to them,
Yeah.
And that's now why everybody jokingly says thanks, Obama, because it didn't live up to what they themselves told themselves what hope was. So now people had that same problem with No Man's Sky. You get a little taste of awesome, you get a promise, a vague promise, and then it's hard to not fill in the gaps. It's just how our monkey brains work. That's why we get tricked with visual illusions. We're filling in gaps of stuff we don't understand. I think luckily you and I were there were enough things from the press that were like, a little weary about this. Maybe it'll surprise us, but you and I were pretty skeptical.
Yeah.
The whole way through. I just feel bad for. Screw the people that are like, pitchforks are out. But I do feel bad for the people that you just couldn't wait for the game, and maybe they've mowed lawns all summer. Like, I don't know. If you're like a 13-year-old kid or whatever, and it took a lot for you to save up for the game, and you expect a little more, and maybe it feels empty, or you can't play with your friends. So, you know how it is a single-player game, and you and I, or at least I thought when we talked about the game getting leaked, we're like, why would you play it? You're supposed to be able to kind of interact with other people, and you're playing it with nobody around. Well, no, that is how you play it. It is not multiplayer. There is no component like that. Like, we assumed that it was, and it just made me realize that, oh man, like, as aware as we were of what we think the game would be, even then it still was communicated in ways that were misleading to us, and you and I were really skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel bad for the people that are really disappointed in it. If I don't get this AVS console, that's how I'll feel.
Yeah.
I'll be like, my gamble did not pay off.
If they continue to like update it and add stuff to it, like how cool would it be if they added something where like you land on a planet and there's like ancient aliens, right? There used to be a civilization there.
Yeah.
And you can go for it and find out what happened to them, and like
you can see like their cave paintings or whatever.
Yeah.
Isn't there something kind of like that? Don't you learn language?
Maybe.
I think there's a
I
language.
think I remember
thing.
something. Brad Shoemaker said something about that.
But it'd be rad to go into a cave hole and then start digging around and see procedurally generated buffalo paintings. That would be rad.
Like the first Mass Effect. I can't tell you much about the story. I think it was something about like robot AI squids.
Okay.
I don't remember. But one thing I do remember is like you're exploring the solar system and you bring up this planet, and it said that when people were studying this planet from far away, they saw this enormous geological structure. And as they got closer to explore it, it moved, and it hasn't been seen since. And I just thought that was awesome. Like, what is that? What was it alive? Was it like a building? Like, what happened with this? Like, that stuck with me so much. So I can understand why people would want to go around and explore. And yeah, I hope that. I made it just you finish reading my sweet. Yeah, I hope that it's updated in such a way that gives that experience to people.
Yeah. I mean, maybe since it does, like Zarek said, and thanks for joining the chat, bud. Where he's talking about, like, hey, this might be I need to chill out kind of game, right? This will be a nice, relaxing thing. I hope that they add some of the features that people thought would be there, and some of the performance stuff gets fixed, and then in a year I see like, oh man, it's $20. Why not have that just in case I feel that it's to just sort of chill out and look at the pretty color palette that they have. You know, but as of now, I don't like watching. I thought that I would like watching Zarek and Day 9 and Giant Bomb and all these people. I thought I would really enjoy watching other people play it because I like their personalities and I like watching those people play games even if I'm not interested in it. I'm not having that. If the commenter isn't talking about something I'm actively interested in, it loses my interest. And there are games that I do like to watch people watch. This isn't one, and I thought it would be. Is what it is, right?
Yeah. Like I watched the quick look, and my heart sank when I saw Alex Navarro shooting cliffs with a gun to get like resources. I was like, ugh.
I thought the same thing. Like, I'd like that but that's where that hook starts and stops there. That isn't a level that isn't like there isn't more depth to that. That is what it is.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Zarek, thank you very much for the mini review. It was fantastic, as always. Man. I did not know you were competitive. I know you're really good at video games, but I'm not surprised to hear he was good competitively. But just didn't know that's what you did. That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
I never did anything like that. I only like impressed friends or would get disappointed by them being better. That kind of stuff. So, all right, man. Well, this has been way, way too long of an episode. We're like almost 2.5 hours. So,
oh man,
this is like old school. This is back when we used to take breaks and we have like those 3-hour like marathons. So, Zarek says he's been keeping up with Sean Murray's tweets. That sounds like it'd be interesting. I did see something where he's like, we're working on a patch. People are going to be very happy. And then that's all that was said. And he didn't say anything else. And that was the first time that I thought that the Peter Molyneux comparisons felt maybe a little on the accurate side.
Right.
Like, I'd always given Hello Games and Sean Murray the benefit of the doubt. But saying there's been such a big amount of disappointment from some people in this game to say something very vague on Twitter about making a lot of people happy soon. That sounds like crowd control. Like that, there's nothing to that. That's technically probably an accurate statement, but it's not. It's disingenuous to say it like that. You know what I mean? Without saying here's a look at the head patch notes, or this is what we're working on. Just saying a lot of people are going to be very happy. No, I don't. Say nothing or say something. Don't continue to imply, because it get you out of the same hype train. Because in your own mind, you know it's broken, but that's not what he's fixing potentially.
Right. Yeah.
So, he says that he's been fixing things. He says he says to keep sending feedback, and that is promising. I'm glad that he is roll up your sleeves. He is forward facing with it. So good luck to Hello Games and Sean Murray, and hopefully you're not a crook. I'm still giving you the benefit of the doubt, but you got to rein that in. It's not like we would ever say this is going to be the best podcast ever. Just wait till episode 196. We're going to take out all the ums and sidetrack crap that we had in this episode. This doesn't. It's impossible to live up to that promise.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder how long until he's like, "You guys are too mean. I quit video games."
I hope that doesn't happen. Now that I hope doesn't happen.
He goes full Phil Fish.
Like,
what's Phil Fish doing nowadays?
Probably still making money, man. Fez still sells.
Yeah. Is he just sitting somewhere being Canadian?
Probably. Sipping coffee with Trudeau.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that'll be his biography. Sipping coffee with Trudeau.
It'll have that like really artsy kind of like man, I can pick like almost like a Scanner Darkly kind of art style. You'll just see like the silhouette of his hair and like those really bold lines with like his hipster black rim glasses. So, all right, man. Well, let's wrap up the show. I want to thank Ben Landis very much for letting us use his song Through the Forest as our intro music. If you're interested in checking out the audio version of the podcast, if that's a more convenient way for you to listen to the show, you can do that at Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, or grab the RSS feed from our website, classicleet.com. We also are searchable in pretty much all the podcast apps, so if you got your favorite app, just type in Classic L337 and you should find us. If you'd like to interact with us, follow us on Twitch, and you can watch us record the podcast live, twitch.tv/classic_leet. Also, Twitter, Facebook, and most importantly, YouTube. Just search for Classic L337, and you'll find us. Dustin, we have a rival. I think I'm going to send a cease and desist. There is a Classic 1337 on YouTube.
Oh.
They started 2 years ago. Yes. At the time I found them, they had 72 subscribers.
We should go and copyright all of their copyright claim all their videos.
That was my initial thought, and then what I really think we need to do is form some sort of underground alliance where we're cool with each other, but publicly.
Ooh, yeah.
Put on
it's
a
drama.
shtick, yeah. Because I don't care. It's a dumb name, so it's two people that have dumb names.
Right.
So, and then also Zarek, he's got one last comment here. He says, yes, you can learn language. There are some ancient ruins, always talking about No Man's Sky, but they are very generic. 1 to 2 stone buildings with some stones that teach you some language.
I thought he was gonna pitch us on Rosetta Stone for a second.
Yeah, right.
You too can learn a language.
That's like a little taste of what we're talking about. That's not. You and I ran wild with what we think cave paintings should be.
Yeah.
So, good stuff. Well, everyone, thank you very much for listening. If you're an audio listener and you're still with us, thank you so much. I have a really cool song for you to listen to. It is from Chiptunes Equals Win Volume 5. I wasn't kidding. I was really going to do like a month of songs from them. This is from a chiptune artist named Payne Perdue. And the song is called Artifact. It's great, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Dustin, anything else that we've missed in this 2.5-hour monster of a podcast?
I think we've talked about literally everything.
Literally everything. There's another potential podcast episode now. Yeah. So, all right, everyone. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next week for episode 195. Oh, no, 196.
Boosh.
Almost got you there.